This is called Wisconsin's Shame. I thought it was a home invasion. And David French wrote this. And the story is phenomenal. And essentially, this is Wisconsin politics, internal politics, gone crazy. It goes back to 2009. There was a case about a Purple Heart chapter that there was some embezzlement of funds, $11,000 worth of funds, and the district attorney in Milwaukee didn't act on it, but instead formed what was called a John Doe investigation. I had never heard of this, or at least if I had, I wasn't aware that that's what this was. But apparently, during a John Doe investigation, they can break into your house, they can search your home, ask you questions, interview your children, confiscate things. I think reporters might have had something similar done to them, but not under John Doe. Take all your stuff, and then you're not allowed to talk about it. They've placed a gag order on the case, so you cannot explain to your neighbors why the police were knocking down your door. You can't talk to your boss about why all the material on your computer you can't access because the government took it. All of that stuff, it puts a clamp down of complete silence. You can't talk to anyone about it. And what happens is people are then, their lives are ruined, at least for a time. They're unable to fight back. They're unable to talk about it to anyone that could help them. And eventually what happened is they went after Club for Growth in Wisconsin, and Club for Growth sued. And this was interesting. All this, by the way, was done in the service of defeating Scott Walker. That the people that they started going after were people who had helped or worked on or had been involved in some tangential way even in the Walker victories, in his multiple victories here, recall efforts or whatever. And it goes back to why people are hesitant to donate or get involved in politics when these are the tactics that are being used. So the disposition of the case right now is that there are lawsuits around federal and state, I believe, trying to deal with this. But some people that were afraid to talk actually spoke anonymously and told what had been happening. And light is beginning to be shined on this case. But the story itself is so frightening and so unbelievable. And it is no wonder that these tactics are used to shut people down and to keep them from getting involved in politics on the conservative side.
It seems that the left can only win by lying and intimidating and bullying.
I seem to remember these tactics being used a few times in my history class when I studied it. I think there's a few governments out there that have randomly broken into houses and arrested people because they disagreed with those in power. It's never ended up well before. Right now, we're not nearly as extreme as they were.
Well, it ends up really well if you're in the business of manufacturing body bags.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't, it's not as bad yet. The Nazis went in, broke the doors down, took the Jews off to concentration camps. Right now, they broke the doors down, stole their stuff, scared them to shut up. We're not nearly as bad as it was then. A lot of people were disappeared to gulags under Soviet rule for disagreeing or daring to speak up. We're not there yet, but if everyone doesn't come out against this, if these people aren't punished, if they get off and Democrats learn that this is an acceptable tactic, it's going to continue to get worse. Hopefully we never get that bad.
Notice how few people have been talking about this across our political spectrum. People don't talk about it because the folks involved are ordered not to talk about it, and therefore they can't get the word out about what's going on. And that's heinous.
The left absolutely didn't want to acknowledge that their man Obama had any association with anything that had gone wrong, and they also saw that acknowledgement that the VA was a disaster could threaten the concept of big government takes care of everybody beautifully and is the solution. So on the progressive left, the VA scandal could never be allowed to be a scandal that really got fixed. It had to be controversialized.